mics on? Are these mics on right here?
Okay,
Okay.
Check, check.
Wait till Tiffany gets back.
checking.
Let me call to order the September 18th, 2024 Newport Code Enforcement Board meeting. Take the roll call, Tiffany.
Chad Silver,
Here.
Raymond Butts,
Here.
Mark Marin,
Here.
Jan Nepshield,
Here.
Glenn Taylor.
Here.
First item on the agenda is the minutes approval from the August 14th, 2024 meeting. Those were in attendance if they want to review those, if you haven't reviewed them yet. And if there's any corrections, or if I can have a motion
I'll
to
move
accept
that we
them.
approve the minutes as presented.
A second.
Got a first and second?
Chad Silver,
Yes.
Raymond Butts,
Yes.
Mark Marin,
Yes.
Jan Nepshield,
Yes.
Glenn Taylor.
Yes.
Okay. We have one item on the agenda tonight, appeal of a citation, BWB Properties 922 Orchard citation number 24381. Before we get in that case, I want to cite the rules of the meeting and how it's conducted. First, the City of Newport will provide testimony pertaining to the case for discussion and questions by the board. Second, the appellant can provide testimony pertaining to the case for discussion or questions by the board. And third, any other person can provide testimony pertaining to the case for discussion and question by the board. Next, the appellant and the city will have the right to cross-examine any witness that testify. After all testimony is given, the board will deliberate and vote on their decision for the case. The board's decision will be mailed to the appellant, and you will have 30 days to appeal the decision to the Campbell County Direct District Court. Anyone that will be testifying tonight during this meeting, I will administer the oath of truth. Also, when you testify, you must speak from the lectern and state your name and address, and limit your testimony pertaining to the case. So anybody testifying tonight, I need you to stand up and raise your right hand. Are you going to be?
I'm gonna make a quick comment.
Okay.
Our one issue we have before the board today is against the Progress LLC.
Okay.
So obviously, as you know, that they need to represent by legal counsel. The person who's here today, joined us here today, is not legal counsel. So it's up to this board as to what they want to decide to do as to, she would like to request putting it off or giving her time to get legal counsel or have her legal counsel in. But that's completely up to you as to whether you want to do that or not with her today. But I cannot allow her to represent the LLC. Because, well, we've been through all that, so we can't all, but, yeah, so it's really a decision for this board as to what they want to do with that.
So is she the owner of the property or just?
She is the property manager.
Manager, okay, so the owner's not here, but nobody's here to represent the LLC.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Yeah, so she's just the manager of the property, so she doesn't even own the property.
Correct.
She just wants to represent the owner through an LLC. The property is under LLC.
Correct. The
But
property
it's still,
is under
there's owner to it.
Correct, and, even if they did own the LLC again, they would,
Okay.
Well, I make such motion that we defer this to the next meeting. Give them time to get counsel.
Can I just ask one question, quick question first? The PBA site does not have an LLC as the owner of this property. It has a completely different person.
I sent the letter to. Letter. So the PBA is going here, that's where the letter went. Yes, original letter. And I did put them as, underneath the name of Michelle.
Well, one question that I would have about that, I understand if PVA says that, but if you're the manager of the property, who are you employed by?
The BWB property.
PWB LLC, even though it's not listed on the property value administration. She's still employed by this company, so this company's either established or running an illegal LLC.
This company is not in good standing with the Secretary of State as well, so they are invalid.
Okay?
Let me start by looking. I'm gonna pull this up real
Look at you, man. Perry Mason.
I was trying to figure out who the parties were.
And if I may,
Did I just age
to the
myself?
board, this is an LLC that we've had a long history
quick.
with.
Well, we're not gonna take testimony yet. We're not gonna get into specifics of anything quite yet.
I still want to hear what you say.
And we will, I promise. Want to clear this portion up real. Okay, so I see what you gave us.
Have you guys seen that motorcycle movie that was filmed here? We're not testifying. That guy that was here last time, he was in that movie.
Oh, really?
I saw it. He was part of the gang.
No kidding.
Bike riders? That. If you watch it, it's all like pepper pot, up and down. Monmouth. And he told me he was in it, and then I watched it again, and he was. But,
Is that on Netflix or something?
is that?
Is that on Netflix or something?
That's something. But he was going through the bike shop.
Let's stop, we got the meeting going on right now.
Appealed by a BWB Properties.
I was appealed by Mr. it represents that,
Who's BWB Property?
that's the company that I,
That you, through that company, you service?
correct, yes.
Okay,
And
but the
I-
property is owned by Michelle Rashid.
She is, I guess, the owner of the company, but.
And either Michelle needs to be here, or else she can represent herself, or she can have an attorney do it.
Yes, so like it said, I picked up the letter on Monday, and that was less than 72 hours, so you do have an attorney, and we would like, and to represent. And so we did not have enough time to reschedule.
We would have mailed this out to Ms. Rashid.
Yes.
She did not receive them.
No, that's why I came in Monday evening and the clerk handed it out to me and said it was just sent out. And that's why I came to be on living. And that's why I have this printed out copy.
Well, then, either way, she cannot represent this. So
Right.
You guys, time, okay, so they make a decision, that's all, that's obviously up to you.
Should we at least get the background on it
Please.
from Barry?
From Barry, no,
You can have the background if you want, that's, you can, and then still decide at the end, we're gonna give her time to go see Blue Council, get an attorney, or you can say, no, today, we're going to push this off and give them time. That's, whatever you guys choose to do, that is up to you as the board.
okay. My position is I think that we should postpone this until she has representation, legal representation. But what's the rest of the board? That's just my, I mean, let's have to come back and go through it. Jan, do you have any?
Problem with
I think we're gonna eventually do it anyway,
Right.
so.
I mean, if we listen to the case and then she comes back with an attorney, then we'll listen to the case again. It
Yeah.
doesn't really matter at that point, so I don't think my personal opinion, I don't think it's necessary to listen to the case because we're gonna have to listen to it eventually.
Yeah,
Some more evidence might come in and
I concur.
You can go ahead and.
Could they not decide today?
Sorry.
Could they not decide today?
They can, they absolutely can decide today.
So from the city standpoint, I'd like to at least be able to explain to them why perhaps we don't even need to go any further.
I mean, again, that's up to them. If you guys want to listen to what Barry has to say about this, we certainly are.
well, my position is that if we roll in the favor of the city and the plaintiff sues the city, and then they're gonna come out and say, hey, how can you listen to the case if we didn't legally have
Well, we did give them
representation?
notice. To be fair, we did provide them notice. We mailed out a letter last week. We told them, even in our letter, it says if you're an LLC, you have to be represented by legal counsel, it goes through all of that. I mean, they do have, again, the notice as required by law, we provide it to them. If so, I don't think they have standing to sue the city for that, but I want to get your legal opinion on that. But certainly, you guys, it is up to you, it is up to the board, as to whether or not you want to hear the case today.
So we listened to the testimony from the city. She also is going to be allowed to.
She cannot testify on behalf of the city. She is
Testify.
not an attorney. She cannot be for the city. I mean, I'm sorry, pardon me.
For the plaintiff.
For the property. Pardon me. She
Okay.
is the property owner now.
I just want to make sure that's all clear with the rest of the board that, you know, we're
So
not.
it basically, simply put, you can listen to this now, you can decide it now. If you choose, you can put it off to it, but that's up to you guys, and that's basically extending, you know,
Or 30 days.
yeah, if you want to, but that's purely at your discretion. You are not obliged to do so.
Okay.
But, you know, I can't advise you on what you choose to do in that matter.
Kind of want to hear what Barry has
But
to
the board
say.
wants to hear the rest of the board. Yeah,
We're all
sure.
here.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the city. Thanks. So this is a property that, would we say it's the worst property and it's the most problematic property? No. However, I have provided you with evidence that is just 2 years old of the number of times that we've had to cite them for the same issue, which is usually high grass and weeds and junk, trash, and debris, or just high grass and weeds. We do understand that they're based out of Dayton, Ohio.
Okay.
Get that. However, if you're going to own property in the city of Newport, it is your responsibility to put eyes on that property. If this was a one-time situation, we have the flexibility and the willingness to work with it. But this goes back for years. I've talked with the property manager, not this young lady, but another property manager, and I've explained to him that, hey, you're literally right across the street from the city building. I would think that to you, it would behoove you to ensure that at least the grass is cut, right? So I can only drive by it so many times, because then, guess what? Then I'm not doing my job. So we've had flexibility with them. So at some point when, like, how long do we continue to have flexibility? We have to make people responsible for the property that they own in the city of Newport, but don't live here. That's not our problem. That's their problem.
How many properties do they own here?
As far as I know, just one, sir.
I got a question about the citation that you filed. And just some clarification, okay, because any of this we got in the packet is allowed to be looked at as evidence, correct? Anything in the packet?
Correct.
Because the appealing that at 11:02 that day, that property was cleared and they were gonna bring pictures in, okay. So I just want clarification, I think I know what it is. You observed the violation at 9:10 a.m. and you didn't write the citation till 11:02 a.m. So I just want to clarify that, so even though the claimant is found appeal, that at the time that you cited them, the property was already cleared, that's not accurate then? It wasn't
not
at
accurate.
9:02, she's still going by when you actually cited her.
Yeah, so it's the same concept of if you park your car at 11 o'clock and get a ticket at 11 o'clock, you move your car at 11:05, ticket still stands, right?
Right.
So this is that type of situation where the pictures and the ticket, a citation was written prior to them cutting it. There's a difference between the time of the infraction and the time that it's issued.
Okay,
Once we take the pictures, that's it. That's the time. So what they probably did was they probably came in behind me and cut it, and then when I went back, it was cut. But that doesn't negate the fact that it had been sitting uncut for a number of days, and I do try to afford them the opportunity. And with most people, I drive by properties every day that I know need to be addressed to afford them the opportunity to resolve it, especially if they are Newport residents and property owners. Landlords, standpoint is a little different. right? They need to be held accountable for their property. They need to put eyes on it. And when you live 50 miles away and you have property, then you have to put forth due diligence to ensure that that property is in the correct standings that it should be in.
Great.
Thank you, sir.
That's all the question I have. Any other board members
Yeah,
have any
I've got a
questions?
question. Was the property owner themselves served it?
Well, what we do is we give notice two different ways. One is we post it on the building, and the other, we send it to the address that is in PVA, which we have to do by law. It is the property owner's responsibility to ensure that the address that is in PVA is the correct answer. And as Billy said, they were giving all the notice that they needed to know what they needed to be here with today.
Are they current residents of
No,
Newport?
sir,
or
the
Campbell
property
County?
is vacant.
No.
The property is vacant.
Oh, really? How long has it been vacant?
I've been here 5 years, and it's been vacant since I've been here.
Can I ask a question? That you've got this citation from September of '22. How much, it was for weeds? How much, the minimum was 100, maximum was 500. Do you remember how much they got fined back then?
They may have, I would have to like
More than-
really dig into it, but they probably got the max, which would have been 500 if they paid after the 10 days. Now, if they paid within the 10 days or appealed it within the 10 days, then it may have paid at $100.
And we have two citations in front of us right now. One for sanitation, one for weeds, same thing, minimum 100, maximum 500.
Yes, sir.
And your sense is this is going to continue?
Yeah,
I mean, I'm
that's
not
kind of
asking
my
to predict
feeling.
the future, but
And it's unfair to the neighbors on the left and the right side of them, right? And then it's almost like toying with them in a way, like they're literally right across the street from us.
I've got a whole different attitude now.
Yeah.
I think they've had proper notice. It's been an issue in the past. They've had every opportunity to be here to defend it.
Yeah, apparently they did appeal the citation for 2022, because there's a letter here. You know, I would like to have known what happened to that. Did this board,
It stood.
it stood, okay.
Yes, sir.
I do want to point out one thing if I could. Technically, this was appealed, the civic trustee and the citation appealed, not the homeowner. So technically, this really wasn't appealed properly
Okay.
because it's not really being appealed. The appellant is a BWB, property agent. Nicolay Bly, pardon me, appealing that on behalf of the homeowner, who is a private citizen of El Rashid, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. But technically, it would need to be appealed by her or legal counsel. She has legal counsel, certainly. She's been entitled to do so. But this appeal really was not. So as far as I'm concerned, this really wasn't appealed at all. This isn't really a proper appeal. I pulled up the deed. I pulled up a few other things. Got a little confusing, I admit, between the PA and the county clerk's records. But looking a little closer at the citation appeal itself, I can determine from a title standpoint title is currently in Ms. Rashid's name personally as an individual, not as an LLC. And BWB Properties has no legal ownership or no ownership rights of any sort to this property. Ms. Rashid or her attorney and or her attorney present really, and really she should have filled out the appeal. So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, this really wasn't appealed.
Okay.
That makes it
So
easy.
you
Yeah.
can still make your determination today. So what you do, I just want to bring that, to light. And personally, I apologize. Of course, I think maybe I didn't realize some of the title issues or title concerns. And obviously, we don't do a full title report or anything before these meetings. But really, we probably should not have brought it then here today because it really was not properly appealed.
Okay. Well, even though it wasn't then, we could still render a decision today, right?
Order decision, yeah.
Okay.
I just felt the need to bring that to your attention.
Okay, thanks. My position is this, and I'm gonna move this board forward, and you guys can decide how you wanna fall. I feel like the maximum fine on both citations should be instituted, $500 apiece for a total of $1,000. We need to make that decision today, that it seems like the city's been getting a runaround with this property. We don't know about this other appeal, let it fall as it is, fine them $1,000, but whatever the board wants to do.
I second it.
Okay,
I have a question.
yes.
This past month, or not month, last month.
Hold on.
Yeah,
There's been a motion and a second. So if we want to rescind the motion, that's fine. But insofar as there's a motion and a second, we need to continue to the vote.
Is something pertaining to this
When do you
case?
have discussion?
We just had the discussion, we closed it. When somebody motioned and somebody seconded, the discussion is over, we move to our vote.
Man, Robert's Rules of Order has changed totally.
I mean, if you feel like you need to,
No, I'm fine.
okay. In actuality, I was not making a motion.
Oh, I thought I heard a motion and a
No, each second the motion, but it was not a motion. Okay, so I'm just clarifying that.
That's
So,
okay,
so actually, this deliberation is still open.
Okay, the deliberation, still, there's no motion, second motion. Jim, you got something you want to?
Right, so that second motion was not, because there not been a first motion. I was just
Sorry.
first, putting out my
I
opinion of
understood,
it.
Mr. Nepshield, would you like?
Okay, go ahead, Jan, you can speak on this case.
Pardon?
Go ahead.
Well, I feel like I'm sitting here the last meeting we had. We spent a couple hours down here. We accomplished nothing. And we'd had fines that were outstanding on that building or on the property for 10 years. Now, my question is, if we're gonna fine people, how do we get them to pay? Number one. Number two, if they don't pay, what happens?
That's not really the purpose of this hearing. The purpose of this hearing is for for the board to determine whether to impose the penalty or not. If you want to talk about that maybe with code enforcement later or with the city's attorneys later, that could be a discussion, but that's not really the purpose of this hearing.
What's the purpose of us being here then?
To determine whether to impose the fine or not.
Which may or may not be paid.
Well, that's not a determination for them. I mean, that has nothing to do with this board. I mean, whether they pay it or not, it's not really for the board to consider. It's whether the board chooses to impose the penalty or not.
Well, I reached a point, we were on the Board of Adjustments for years, and we were bending over backwards to help these people. Remember there was that green building, blue building over on, the guy was like from Atlanta? And I just reached a point, like, what are we doing here? So I'm in somewhat of agreement with Jan, is we need to, and I can't comment on whether fines are paid or not, but what are we doing here if we don't put these guys to task and say, you got a house in our city and you're not taking care of it, boom, here's what happens, and then they have to address it. It isn't about a he said, she said. So I'm all in favor of, on this case, moving forward with the two maximum fines.
Now, if we actually wanted to, we could actually add some stipulation to this fine, right? And that would be, as Jan's saying, that maybe because we've had so many problems in the city with this property, and it's came in front of this board, that now we want to make the determination to go ahead and fine them the max, and if that fine is not paid within 30 days, then we can instruct the city to move to have a lien put up against property, whatever needs to be done.
To what?
You cannot do that.
No.
I would think they would just say that the appeal wasn't properly made and they would pay what they owe to
Okay.
avoid that.
I mean, we have made that determination in this board before, that we,
Not paid within a certain amount of time.
yeah, we had,
Even if the whatever the citation was for was remedied.
I think can't recall the case
Yeah.
offhand, and.
I remember.
And you may have been here, but we made that determination to find the maximum fine, and
If they don't respond within the
Then-
next
then-
amount of time, we were going to take,
take other actions, the
Yeah.
city would take other actions.
Okay.
I think there were some other citations the max is gonna show up on those too, something along
Right,
those
so
lines.
could we put that in this motion that,
And you put that in the motion, yeah.
okay, now, Chad, you're speaking from a legal aspect that I understand it, but, you know,
You can't change your motion now because you got a motion to set in a second.
we ain't made a motion yet.
I seconded a non-motion. It was
Yeah, it was a
official.
non-motion.
I was too excited.
If the appeal was not properly made, would they still pay the maximum fine?
It's not, I'm sorry, say that again.
If the appeal was not properly made by the wrong person, would the maximum
Yes, the
fine?
maximum fine, if you don't appeal a citation.
Okay, so they're gonna,
At the max.
even if we impose the maximum fine by motion, or,
Yeah,
it's
either
the
way,
same outcome?
Either way, it'll be the maximum fine. Is that what you're asking, or maybe I'm missing?
No, I think he was trying to
I was,
add something.
yeah, I was trying to add more to it that, you know,
So
this,
you want to go over the maximum fine.
right, not on the fine, but on stipulation that
If they don't pay it within a certain amount.
if they don't pay it or
don't
they
respond.
continue to be cited for the same violation, if they come in front of this board again, you know, then can the city make a determination what
Well, in that
remedies
sense,
they have?
If they are cited again for the same thing, the next, assuming they appeal it, the next time they come in, then yeah, you guys can impose that. I mean, you can go from there, certainly on that one. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah, and then it becomes a lien at some point.
Right.
There's enforcement actions that can be taken,
Right.
so there,
Do we know if there's any liens on it now? Outstanding from 2022?
I believe there are, yeah.
Yeah. So they're just not paying any attention to it.
From the city standpoint, this is, it is what it is.
Right.
Like, there's not a whole lot that we need to try to
We can't
figure out.
ask
It
questions
just is what it is. So we just need to close the chapter on this and move forward.
There are three outstanding liens against this property currently.
Yeah, let's do it.
all right, well, start over. Do we have a motion on the floor?
You were the motion man. Come on, man.
Well, I'm the chairperson.
I'll make a
Can't do it.
motion that we
Motion.
enforce the
Any one of
maximum
you guys
fine.
can make a motion, just to
Right.
clarify, any one of you.
I'm very
At one
shy.
time, I was told that the chairperson can't make a motion when I was on Board of Adjustments, and then I clarified that by looking it up, then that, yes, you can.
Yes, yes, any one of the five reasons for the make that motion.
Go ahead.
I was gonna make a motion that we enforce a maximum fine on both violations.
Have a second?
A second.
You got this.
I've seconded twice now, so it's like 4.
You did good.
Chad Silber,
Yes. Is there a date that these have to be paid by?
We have a motion and a second right now, so we're gonna have to
You
move
wanna
forward.
vote
So
this?
the discussion, the deliberation is over, so now we're gonna vote on it.
Raymond Butts,
Yes.
Mark Marin,
Yes.
Jan Nepshield,
No.
Glenn Taylor.
Yes.
Yep, that's it.
Motion for adjournment?
You making a motion for adjournment? Go
I'm
ahead.
making a motion for
We have a
adjournment.
first, we have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chad Silber,
Yes.
Raymond Butts,
Yes.
Mark Marin,
Yes.
Jan Nepshield,
Yes.
Glenn Taylor.
Yes.
Just couldn't say no to you, Barry, with that peace hat on.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Here's minutes, and just sign. Is that all I need? Just sign my name?